kind of a bad day, but I want to welcome everybody to the show. A lot of shit going on, obviously, as everyone's well aware of. Um, Charlie Kirk's assassination, and I just want to point out real quick that that's how everybody. You guys need to remember this was an assassination. Even Western Valley University over there in Utah, whatever the hell the name is, and the press conference said that Charlie passed away. Charlie did not pass away. Charlie was assassinated for his ideas, for thought. He was killed for wrong think in the eyes of the shooter. So just wrap your head around that's kind of where we are right now, everybody. And we'll go around the horn real quick. Donnie, it's been a while since we've had you in, man. Good to see you.
What's up, buddy? Coming to you live from North Georgia.
There we go.
A new news office.
I like it. And we got Sue LaRue in the house. Emery's off training or running through the woods or fucking doing something. And T's traveling tonight, so we don't have T. How you doing tonight, Sue?
I was supposed to be on my way to Byron Russell's house and be watching you guys either from his house or letting you guys handle tonight. And then, of course, I got a phone call from my neighbor, Troy, saying Charlie Kirk has been shot. And I immediately turned on the television and saw the same thing that I'm sure everybody else did. And that kind of put a kibosh on my whole schedule this afternoon.
I'm sorry about that, buddy, but I'm glad you're here because you do have unique insight to this particular incident, as far as experience goes. So, you being a sniper, you can speak to some of these points a little bit, and we'll get into that shit. And want to give a big thanks to Russ for putting together that little thing for Charlie on the intro. We just, the least we could do, remember this guy.
He was a good dude, man. That heartbreaking because he was intelligent, very articulate, very calm, just a voice of reason. And with two little babies and a beautiful wife.
Yeah.
And then they get to watch that travesty of him getting shot. Yeah, I mean, it's my heart's broken over this, really.
It's sad, and it's just a fact though that whoever did this, and for whatever his personal reason was, he doesn't realize that years from now, like people will remember this day kind of like 9/11, especially people on the right. Everybody will remember where they were when they heard and what they were doing. Like we were kind of discussing, like you were saying, Sue, when you heard about it, you had to change plans a little bit. Everybody will remember this. It's the first martyr, the first real martyr for the right in this country.
And not only a martyr for the right, but I'm talking about the next generation. I mean, he's only 31 years old. He started, he basically started the Turning Point USA at 18 in high school. And he told everybody, I'm not going to college. The first time I saw him was 2013. And I was like, who is this kid? And he was bad-mouthing the whole Bush-Cheney regime for basically wasting, America's money and youth in the Iraqi invasion. And I was like, who is this guy? I hate him already. But when I listened to his points, he's the one that really got me to thinking, guys like me and Carl Erickson and Byron Russell and everything, we were basically pawns in a bigger game. And there was no weapons of mass destruction there. And we really never had a right to invade Iraq. We really didn't.
No, we did not.
And as far as nation building goes, Charlie Kirk was the first one who said America shouldn't do nation building. We're horrible at it.
Yes, we are.
I completely agree with him now.
Yeah.
And he's, this podcast, Angery American has a hard time with YouTube and everything, but because Turning Point USA was so massive, I mean, we're talking millions and millions of viewers in a younger generation. Even when Charlie Kirk had talking points that YouTube didn't agree with, they cannot take him down.
No.
Without facing some kind of rebuttal, right? He's got too many people out there that follow Charlie Kirk at Turning Point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huge blow to the right side for the generation, what do you call them, Gen Z or Gen X? But huge blow for those guys. I think my estimation or my assessment is they were trying to, whoever hit this guy was trying to get that generation to shut up and follow. I hope people aren't scared. I hope they stand up.
Oh,
Keep going in Charlie Kirk's honor.
if the rhetoric coming out of if the rhetoric coming out of the left or the right social media is anything, people are seriously pissed.
Absolutely. And go ahead, Chris.
No, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you have a lot of the people over on the left, mainstream media came out saying, well, he brought it on himself and this, that, and the other thing. The Utah governor, this is something that I wrote down, his name is Spencer Cox. He goes, Charlie believed in the power of free speech and debate to shape ideas and persuade people. And then he added, I'd like to remind you that we still have the death penalty here in Utah.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Absolutely. And for people that saying that he brought it on himself, what they're telling you is that they agree that it was legitimate for him to be killed for his beliefs, for his thoughts. Like Charlie fostered open civil debate, and he would debate with anybody civilly. Let's talk about this, because Charlie said, when we stop talking, violence begins.
Yep.
And he was the proponent of, let's keep the dialogue happening here, guys. He was the guy pushing to try to keep the two sides communicating to one another. And the left's like, we don't want to hear this no more. And they're celebrating. I don't have an account over on that other Twitter, blue streak, blue bird, blue shit, whatever it's called. But I'm going to probably start one just so I can start tracking their shit a little bit closer, because the stuff I'm seeing coming out of there is really fucking horrible, what they're saying about it. And even Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, shortly after Charlie was shot, was on a podcast where he said that we are fighting fire with fire. We're going to punch these sons of bitches in the mouth. Think about that. That's the governor of California. That's the kind of comment you're going to make on a day like today, Well,
and
go ahead.
And not to mention, in the past, by my recollection, when's the last time a Republican has been involved in a politically involved shooting? Think hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a minute, and it just blows my mind that these people are
Mountain readiness in the house. Just pointing out that we got Bob Toombs listening as he's driving,
and he is going to try to be on in about 20. He said he sent me a text. So,
yeah, good. Today, this is a lot of people. Everybody's shocked and shit today, and tomorrow they're going to be mad. And I don't think that I don't think the left's quite prepared. Diana Rogers, did you guys see that? We're on the floor of the House today. They wanted to have a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk, and the Democrats shouted it down. Like, we're in there yelling and shit to prevent a moment of silence in the House, as Trump had the flag lowered to half staff in honor of Charlie. And this is the way people behave for someone being assassinated. He didn't pass away. All right, let's stop using that language. He was assassinated publicly.
We should go burn down cities and loot stores and all that shit. He was a good man, just trying to put what he believed in out there in a very calm and precise way. I enjoyed watching his videos, his debates.
Yeah, me too.
I thought the guy was excellent. He had a young wife. I mean, he was only 31. He's a kid. And two young children. I mean, the human tragedy in this is profound. And there should be repercussions. And I'm not talking about people getting pitchforks and going on the street, but we've got to change this, man. I mean, it's a tragedy. It's a human tragedy. The man he never incited violence. If you watch his stuff, he was really brilliant and very articulate in what he said. He was decent with people. Who never trust him. I mean, my heart's broken over this, man.
Yeah, that came out.
Justified.
Pilskin or whatever his name is, the governor. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I believe he was the one that said that today.
Yeah, this is a good point, Scott Olson, but I think the tide's turning on that one. But this is true. Republicans will die for what they believe in, and Democrats will kill for what they believe in. But I've been sued. You guys, you've all been in this kind of shit, the preparedness movement, and of a right-leaning mindset like I have for years. And one of the things that I've said for a long time is that the right will keep getting pushed and backing up to a point. At some point, when their back's against the wall, they're going to stop backing up. Well, and that very well could have been today.
Well, the problem lies in this, Chris, and for us and our group and our crew, and that goes out, is the amount of freaking violence that we can bring to the table. It is so mighty and so intense that we are tempered to never use that violence unless absolutely necessary. And I think that's
very true.
I think that's what keeps people, I'm not a political zealot, but I do lean right on certain things, Second Amendment, blah, blah, blah. I'm fiscally conservative, a little libertarian, but I am capable of tremendous violence, but I never have because it's control. Nobody here is more capable of violence than Sue LaRue, and people that we know. I think that tempering is what has prevented this rebuttal, this and this backlash of violence. Because when we get violent, not we, but in general, our people that have the mindset where we do, safety's off. I mean, it's full tilt, light the match and burn the house down. It ain't looting and rioting and, oh, we're badass and painting pictures on the streets. I mean, we're talking about burning shit to the ground. And anyways, you understand what I'm saying.
So there's conflicting information about the shooter. Patrick just said that Patel just put out that they do not have the shooter in custody. Mm-hmm. They did have somebody. He has been released. There was another guy, the old guy, everybody saw a video of him, the blue shirt, being arrested. He was booked and charged with like getting in the fucking way. What do you call it?
Obstruction.
Obstruction. Thank you. Obstruction of justice. I couldn't think of the word. My brain's just not working. It's been a long day. So that guy wasn't the shooter either. Hey, Bob, Lester in the house. Brother, I hope things are going well for you right now. I know you're in a spot. So thinking about you, bro. But there's the video, which has now been. Can you even find the video anymore of the impact of that shot that struck him out? Not that I want to show that. I don't want to show it. It's there if you want to watch it. But it leads to some interesting questions about where the shooter was, because there's a lot of video of a person on the roof of one of the buildings walking across it and taking a prone position. That's classic shooter position. But the fact that they went on an exposed roof and did it again leads back to like the PA kind of shooting. Same thing. Guy walked out on an open roof in plain sight, laid down, took a shot, which no competent sniper would want to do that way. Sue, am I right? You're not want to lay on a rooftop prone in the open in front of a crowd of thousands to take your shot. That's not how it.
Yeah, just like up there in Butler, Pennsylvania. That was ridiculous how he exposed himself before he took the shot.
Well, they're untrained idiots, dude. They're just zealots. Yeah. I mean, that's all that.
Charlie Kirk didn't have counter sniper teams. Charlie Kirk had just a few
bodyguards,
mostly guys like me, retired military.
Yeah, he had some asset protection guys. That was what he had.
You can see him on all of his videos on YouTube. He's usually standing, his arms folded, and watching the crowd intently. I love the way Charlie Kirk has open forums outside, because usually the auditoriums don't hold enough people.
Yeah.
And outside, there is nothing of these university or college campuses can really say anything except that he's trespassing. But he's come across all kinds of resistance to his movement.
Oh yeah.
And what he does is, and if anybody's watched an entire rally of his, he invites anybody. There's usually a stage set up in front of him. He's usually under the white awning that he was today.
Yep.
Just to be in the shade or out of the rain. And he sets up another small stage, and he says, anybody that disagrees with me or my policies, step up front.
Yeah.
He invites those people to come up and talk and keep like you were saying, keep the communication going.
And he was always respectful. And I've watched a lot of his videos. He was always respectful of other people's opinions and intelligently would debate them and intelligently give them facts and various things. And most of them crumbled because they're just kids. But we have to address the youth that are getting indoctrinated in the colleges and indoctrinated in society from the media and from all these things. I mean, the man was brave. The man was intelligent. He was a Christian. He was kind. He was a good person. And it's a MF and tragedy that this man was assassinated. You're right, Chris. He was assassinated.
He's assassinated. And Michael here.
He was also against the indoctrination that kids were receiving on college campuses.
Yes, he was.
Of course. Yeah, that was
he was proud of the fact that he never went to college. And he sat there and said, why are you wasting your money?
Yep. Yep. To the point here, Michael put up a 200-yard shot. That's a walk in the park for anybody with a long gun and a weekend at the range.
With an optic, yeah.
With an optic and a zeroed rifle, I could shoot my Glock 17 200 yards and hit a plate. So,
I've seen it.
Yeah. Once. You have, though. But that was not a hard shot to make. So, Trump did get lucky in Pennsylvania. That idiot missed it.
Yep.
But the fact that whoever made the comment earlier, that the left, the right is willing to die for what they believe in, and the left is willing to kill for it. I think there's going to be a fundamental shift in that logic, and I'm afraid that there's going to be retaliation. So let's look at this from like an insurgency destabilization kind of operation thing. When you look at an insurgency and how they advance, we're into the era now of open assassination of political opponents and of those who disbelieve with you. In the insurgency pyramid, guys, that's way close to the tip of the pyramid. We're almost at the apex of shit's going to go kinetic. It'll be in the streets, and everybody is involved now.
Right before open warfare. Yeah, absolutely.
Is targeted assassinations.
What is everybody going to do? Everybody beats their chest because they got a couple ARs and they went to the range occasionally. I mean, we got Sue LaRue, not just a Green Beret, a legendary Green Beret, right? What are you going to do? You just going to go grab your gun and go downtown and start shooting people? What the hell are you going to do? We need to come up with a logical and preferably peaceful way to address this because everybody beats their chest. We're going to go out.
There's not one. There's not one. There isn't one. At this point,
what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
They're not going to do anything. Same thing I've told everybody. Right. We don't have to do nothing. They're going to do it for us. And they're doing it by what today is another step towards that open warfare. When that starts and the left thinks they want this fight. And like I said, I haven't been watching, Blue Hellhole or whatever they call it over there, but I'm going to start watching it. The left honestly believes, the extreme fringe, progressive left, believes that we're literally going to march into the ditches so they can shoot us. Like when you read the stuff that they discuss amongst themselves, their little masturbatory fantasies that they have in the basement on the computer, they're sickening and pretty horrifying to hear some of the shit that they say, some of the stuff that they're looking forward to doing.
Well,
but they don't realize that a lack of desire to commit acts of violence does not mean an innate lack of the ability to inflict severe fucking violence. And
exactly.
they've always called us the violent ones. We're always the violent ones. We're the violent ones. We're not burning down cities. We're not assassinating our opponents. We're not shooting at the fucking president. We're not threatening the National Guard with our Glock switches. Like the fucking these guys in Chicago talk about don't send the guard up here. We got switches. So I put a post on X today. I was like, for all you dumbasses in Chicago talking about your Glock switch, let me introduce you to the SAW 249. You know, a fucking 9mm Glock that you're going to spray down the street.
Well, I think the left also, since the Obama administration, especially during the Biden administration, we saw what happened to Daniel Penny when he choked a guy out on the New York subway, right? And then this weekend, I just had this conversation this morning. This weekend, we had that guy Brown who stabbed the Ukrainian girl, Ukrainian refugee, on the Charlotte monorail, right?
Yeah.
And we saw videos of that. And we also saw videos of him walking away from her, and everybody around her was acting like they saw her bleeding to death, and they went back to their phone and did nothing.
They don't care.
We also saw Brown walk off that car. I guarantee you, if I was on that car, armed or not, Brown would not have made it to that door.
No, he would have been.
I would have stood up and I would have done something to that man.
And what did he say after he did that?
Because
the left is claiming.
I just got
the
that.
Left is claiming. Hold on. The left's claiming there's no racial overtones to this. The right's making it a racial thing. It shouldn't be a racial thing. Yeah, and he stood up and said, "I got that white girl. I got that white girl."
Yep.
So it is racial.
The reality of what we can do is lawful, because we all like to consider ourselves lawful American citizens. Those of us that train, and I mean train seriously, like people in our crew, in our family, our tribe, right? We train defensively and maybe some offensively, and if it calls for it, but we train to protect ourselves, our family, and in turn our community. But we can't step into the same realm that these idiots do and start talking smack, because we have that training, we have that ability, we have the hardware, we have the knowledge, right? So we have to lawfully come up with a way. We have to protect ourselves, protect our family, situational awareness. We have to do what we can do within the realm and the scope of the law, until the point is the law is not there, the law breaks down, and then obviously, but beat your chest.
How'd that work out for Charlie? And I know what you're going to say, but how'd that work out for Charlie?
Well, it worked out for him because Charlie put himself out there knowing the risk that he faced.
But you're saying we can't, we shouldn't. No, we can. We can.
Well, what can we do, Chris?
It'd be easy to generate a target package of people on the left to go look for. And
okay,
that was my point. That was my point exactly of bringing up Brown and the Ukrainian refugee.
Yep.
I mean, we're trained. I'm trained. When the guy's walking away with a bloody hand and a knife still on it, I'm going to eliminate the threat first, and then I'm going to jump back and try to help the victim. Okay, but first I'm going to eliminate the threat.
Yep.
That would have been Brown with that knife in his hand, right?
Well,
and his arm, I'd have shot him, I'd have done something. If I wasn't carrying a gun, I would have definitely done something to eliminate the threat, and then try to save the girl, right? When she was bleeding out.
Yep.
That my point is, neither one of those things happened from the sheeple that were on that Metro car.
Of course.
Nobody did either one.
One of us would have done.
They didn't help her or stop him. So we got to start standing up. And why didn't they help him? Because they were scared of exactly getting involved and going to court and knowing that this guy who's been in custody 14 times.
Yep.
He's going to be made the victim, and you're going to be the perpetrator, and you're going to whatever you do for a mortgage and a job and everything else is all going to go to lawyers trying to defend what action you took on that.
Well, yeah, they're going to do it right here, like Patrick. Everybody's talking about. The guy's he's already setting up his insanity defense. He's already setting it up, talking about, they put machines in my body and it's not my fault. He's just setting up his insanity defense. But we do have one small ace in the hole on this one. Bondi's charging him federally.
Absolutely.
He's being charged federally as well. So maybe that'll help. You know, Charlotte's a blue city. Who knows what they've done? I'm surprised they didn't release the guy on bail.
Well,
honestly.
and that mayor already came out, and it was the mayor or the governor one came out.
Mayor of Charlotte
said, he's just misunderstood for like, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't know exactly what he said, but it was to that extent. And what kills me about the whole thing is if the narrative was flipped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Charlotte would be in action.
That's the taboo we can't touch, right? Because we can't talk about
Well, but what was one of his last tweets? Well, actually, Charlie's last tweet was like he basically said we cannot address the violence in this country without addressing the racial aspect of it. That wasn't exactly what he said, but in a nutshell, that was what he said. So we're starting to see people like Charlie Kirk and others are coming out now and saying we've got to start discussing the racial issue, and you're starting to see the 1350 thing, which the ACLU the ADLF has already labeled a hate symbol, the 15 or the 1350, which is that, and I'm just stating the facts. Blacks make up 13% of the population that commit 50% of the violent crimes. You drill into that just a little bit. Black men, 6% of the population, they're the ones committing the crime, the majority of the violent crime. So we have 6% of the population, they're saying, according to statistics from the FBI, that they're responsible for 50% of the violent crimes. 66% of the population. 50% of the violent crime. So
yeah, they just did that. They just did that. Released that information in New York, where 5,000 crimes are basically committed by 64 people. 5 of them are still in jail. So what happened to the other 59? If there's 5,000 crimes committed by 64 people over the last year, that's ridiculous. They just keep letting these people go. But what Charlie Kirk stood up for since he was in high school, and I think he was dead on it. He pointed out that 66% of the Democratic Party agrees with the tenets of socialism or Marxism. 66%. That tells you that the Department of Education hasn't done its job in teaching a civics class properly and explaining what the difference is between the Constitution, socialism, and Marxism or communism.
Well, they're doing the exact opposite. They're talking down our representative republic, not our fucking democracy, everybody says. They're talking down our representative republic based on a capitalistic system in favor of Marxism, socialism, communism. And I just dial it all back to, I just call it Marxist because that's the source of all of it. That's where it all fucking comes from. Mm-hmm. So let's just look at that for just a second. Nepal, I don't know if anybody's paying attention to the news and watching what's happened over there, but they just toppled their communist government. They burned their parliament house to the ground. They burned the prime minister's home to the ground. The entire cabinet resigned. They were chasing ministers through the streets. One of them I saw, the minister of finance, was trying to get away by running through a river, and they caught his ass. And so the military right now has taken control of Nepal, trying to restore order and get ready to calm the fuck down so they can figure out what to do next. But we just saw that communist regime collapse. And it's happening live right now. If you haven't seen any of that, you might want to. Whoa, that's a couple videos of the last few days. There's quite a bit of it. Russian hoax. Okay. But they're falling everywhere. And then we want to get into the Russia-Ukraine thing, but except for I'll mention the violation of Polish airspace last night. A lot of people are talking about that. 19 Shaheeds entered Polish airspace, and everybody's saying that's going to trigger Article 5. I don't believe so, and it shouldn't be, in my opinion. Oh, we got Knives by Hand in the house tonight. What is up, brother? That's and awesome. I know I'm glad to see you here, and I would like to have you on next Wednesday, man, if you can. I would like to talk about Nepal with you and your local contacts. Maybe we'll get Alan on too, just to talk about Nepal and what's happening there, because most people don't even know. But thanks for being here, bro.
I hope the intergalactic visitors aren't monitoring this. They might just bypass us.
Uh,
And they might come in hot.
We'll see. You know,
I got that rabbit hole today, dude.
I told you to look at it, man. You know, I'm not saying it's a spaceship, but it ain't a rock. You know, if it is a rock, it's a weird fucking rock. So, and yeah, here's the first part of this statement right here. What we're seeing is the direct assault teaching kids not to fight back. Yes, and telling the white population of this country that everything in the world that is wrong is our fault. Like literally, everything's our fault. We brought it all on ourselves, and we, you know,
it's like a marriage.
Yeah, there's a lot I could say to that, but I'm not gonna say it on YouTube. But there's a lot that I could get into that at the right time and the right place. Maybe we'll do a Zoom one time and have people just in house, and we'll have that conversation.
And did you see Kim Piner's post? I'm going to pop it up.
I did. And it got away from me. I was just looking for it.
Yeah, I got you. So Kim said, I think it's quite a coincidence that also that Tulsi Gabbard was just talking about referring Obama's involvement and leadership in the Russian hoax to the DOJ, and now the spotlight will never be focused on that. I don't necessarily agree with that.
I entirely disagree with that because the Russia hoax is too close to Trump's heart for what they did to him.
I don't. I think she's got a point. And whenever we get close to revealing something, the little professor behind the big curtain in the great land of Oz, something else happens that takes everybody's attention away from the curtain. You know, so I've seen it happen too many times. I'm not calling it. You know, I think it might be a coincidence, but might not either. You know?
I think with people on both sides, a mistake that every one of us make is actually believing our chosen politicians actually give a shit.
Yeah.
The reality is they don't care. You think Trump cares? You really do?
Well,
yeah, but
all right, let's
to Kim Piner's point. What a convenient diversion.
Oh yeah,
it's always a convenient diversion because we have the attention span of gnats because we're on our phones and our computers. You know, if a YouTube video is more than 7 minutes, it loses people. I mean, come on.
What if and this is going out on a limb just a little bit, but when you look around at the state of the world globally, not just the United States, you look at England and what's happening there, Scotland, and all of Europe, actually. Pick any European country. I mean, look at what's happening in France to Marie Le Pen. You know, the French want Macron out. They want Le Pen in, and they're trying to put her in prison. Like, this is the state of the world. You look at the conditions here. And what if, obviously, the experiment of Western civilization in the direction it was taken is not working out. While all this is occurring, we also have the Intifada still happening. And if you don't think that the Crusades are over, they're fucking not. They're still happening right now as we speak. But what if the idea of the structure that we're trying to operate under presently just isn't going to work out? What if tribalism is the way to go? That staying with your own kind and this diversity is our strength. Diversity is never your strength. Unity is your strength, not diversity. It's unity. And I'm not saying that I'm calling for this or predicting it. I'm just saying it's something to think about. What if, just looking around at the wreckage that is the state of affairs, what if it's just not working out and this shit's just on life support and eventually some new order will have to come out of it, you know? Because I don't know how much longer this shit can go. You look around the world anywhere, there's protests, against immigration, against their governments, against representation, taxation, against you name it. And that don't even include the interstate wars that are happening. This is just looking at each nation domestically, their issues.
Well, even our closest allies, Canada and UK, they do not have the right to free speech. Look what's going on in the UK with free speech. That's crazy.
You look
if I went over to the UK and gave my opinion, in a pub, I could be arrested for it in the
Yes.
UK. Yeah.
Banksy did a painting, and I don't know if you know who Banksy is, Sue. Banksy is a street artist. He's world renowned, and he put a painting on the side of a courthouse, I think in London, that basically showed a magistrate beating down a protester with a gavel. So someone holding a sign, and he's beating them down. The police immediately showed up and put big partitions in front of it to block it from public view. And they're talking about arresting Banksy for the peace. So now we've moved beyond, we're arresting political opponents to we're even arresting artists for pointing out the fact of what is occurring. Like I say, at what point do we have to start wondering, maybe, and I'm not talking about our Constitution is wrong, but what we've allowed it to become is wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to get back to our roots. And regrettably, there will naturally have to come with that a settling of accounts nationally.
That's why I'm so curious of who was actually behind the assassination of Charlie Kirk. He was, I mean, when you talk about it, look at me, I'm 62 years old. Charlie Kirk was 30 years younger than me, right? But he resonated with people his age and younger. I mean, look at the secondary education in this country. They're hurting financially because not only Trump stopping the federal, the federal funding of all this,
the slush fund,
but now they're having a hard time getting students to go to college and universities because Charlie Kirk has been telling all these people it's a waste of time. Go to trade school. Who's next, Joe? Joe from Dirty Jobs. He's saying the same thing.
Yeah,
he said, don't go to college. Don't go to university. Go to a trade school. Learn a trade. That's where the future's at. And these colleges and universities can't stand the thought that they can't turn the people into useful idiots.
Well, what we got to remember. Hang on, just a sec, Russ. I'll give you the floor in a minute. But we've got to remember we are a representative republic.
Yes.
But we've been caught up in this lesser of two evils thing for so long. The Constitution of the United States works at the consent of the governed. And I've been saying for a long time, Mike Rowe, that's it. Thank you, Coyote Hill. Dirty Jobs.
Mike Rowe, yeah.
But I've been saying for a long time, withdraw consent. We need to withdraw consent. Our government is not functioning as designed. It is not a representative republic. We now have, I don't know if you guys remember, but when Obama was first elected, David Axelrod got up in front of the podium to the media and said, we will be ready to rule on day one. I want you to think about that. That was the first time in American politics that any administration had used the word to rule, as far as I was aware, doing my research, to rule the nation. Not to govern the nation, not to lead the nation, to rule the nation. And there was a shift in politics, I think, right then that transpired, where these people now look at themselves as that. They are above us. Our Constitution also clearly establishes there will be no titles of nobility. And our senators and our representatives have turned those titles into titles of nobility by exempting themselves from the very laws they place upon the rest of us. Mm-hmm. Just let that sink in for a minute. And back to you, Russ. I didn't want to take the floor away from you, but go ahead.
All right. Yeah, you're fine. We were talking about, Charlie being very much a proponent of going to trade schools and stuff like that. And, because Trump came out with the executive order and said, hey, if you're preaching DEI in your schools, we're going to pull your funding.
Yep.
Okay. 2 schools in the past week, Texas A&M and Clemson University in South Carolina, are both coming under fire. Texas A&M has already stepped up. They have fired the professor from that video. And the chair, the president of Texas A&M is General Welch, was the vice chair of the Air Force before he retired. And he's come under fire about some things. And I don't necessarily disagree with what he said. He said, if somebody wants to study LGBTQ studies, by all means, study it.
Yeah.
But we're not going to force it on everybody. And he came under fire for saying that. But in Clemson, there was a course description in a bioengineering class that for 15% of their grade, they had to take this DEI something or another for 15% of their grade. And I hope they get their asses handed to them, because I'm sorry. The president says that, it's not right.
Yeah, there's a clip on X the other day of a young girl who was sitting in a college class someplace who they were clearly teaching DEI propaganda to them. And she said, I don't believe what you're doing is legal or ethical.
That was Texas A.
That was it. All right, so that was Texas A. I didn't know where that one happened. I just saw the clip. I didn't have time to look at it. So that's good. That's good the professor's been fired because they kicked that student out of class for calling them out. Yep. Someone earlier said that on X replied to something I had said. They said that we need to bring back public shaming and executions. And I said he was half right. Because, you pick which half you think I'm talking about. But public shaming does work. But I think we're beyond that. We're not in a world anymore where you can point out these people's wrongs because as we've seen from, and I just had it and it left my head, the poor Ukrainian girl's name, I just forgot it, how to pronounce it. The media has not talked about her at all. They did a thing showing the New York Times mentioned Daniel Penny in 100 articles. 0 articles in the New York Times about her. 0 articles on BBC, PBS, NBC, ABC, CBS, MSNBC, CNN. No one's talking about that.
NPR, yeah.
Yeah, NPR, PBS, which is being defunded, thank God.
I wonder why they are not being funded by the government anymore.
Yeah. Well,
under the right administration, they would be.
Yeah,
that's the sad part.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Because you're talking about all of those things that didn't bring up anything off of the Charlotte monorail stabbing.
Yeah,
we didn't start reporting on it until Piers Morgan and I believe it was Trump called them out on it, and then they said, "Oh well, yeah, we'll start reporting on this a little bit."
Irina Zarasutska, thank you. Irina, say her name. She was a person. She did not deserve to die that way. She was also a very introverted person. She didn't like to go out and hang out with people. She didn't like to spend time around a lot of people. She was very introverted. That was one of the things people don't know about her. She liked to spend her time alone.
She was an actual immigrant or refugee.
A real refugee.
Unlike the 12 million people that came over the last 4 years, she actually came over here for a reason. And she was an immigrant for a reason.
Yep. She was a legitimate refugee fleeing war in her country. And that's the kind of refugees we should welcome in, depending on the war in their country and who's fighting it. But
and it's so funny that we all think we live in a free country, but yet here on this format, we have to walk on eggshells and tap dance around saying the shit that's real that nobody wants to hear because we'd be labeled something. I mean, that's the sad part. That's a really, really sad state.
I don't give a fuck about the labels. I truly don't anymore. Chicken Hawk and Blue the Bear. Damn. Wow. Everybody's getting some stuff there. I don't know who did that, but
boy, Chicken Hawk.
Wow. Who's handing those out?
Chicken Hawk gifted 10 memberships. Thank you, Chicken Hawk. And a whole bunch of them got them.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that. I don't know what that means. I have no fucking idea. I'm not a YouTube guy. I don't make money off of YouTube. Obviously, we don't make money because they're not going to monetize this fucking channel. But yeah, I think it's time to really Americans in general, and we've got a small, viewership here anymore compared to what we used to have. Like I'm so throttled that we're lucky to break 100 anymore. But it really is time, I think, to step back and kind of look at the state of global affairs, take it all into account, but look at what's happening here. And is this what our government is supposed to look like? Is this what our society is supposed to look like? One thing they're not talking about, I can't remember the damn state it happened in, but there's just an 80-year-old couple butchered in their house and set on fire by a third-degree sexual assaulter who was out on bond. And he butchered these two old people in their homes and set them on fire. The media won't talk about this because it doesn't fit their narrative. But the facts are the facts. And people are starting to talk about it. You're starting to hear, we've got to have this racial conversation. If blacks, you're hearing blacks in America, and I'm not for or against either side. I'm simply saying what's been said. Blacks in this country are starting to call for segregated spaces. Didn't Martin Luther King fight to end that? Isn't that what he gave his life for, supposedly, when the FBI or CIA killed him? Yeah. It was to end that. They're calling for it again. They're saying they need safe spaces from us.
But what about
Kim Piner is correct, though. I mean, this whole racial issue is a diversion. Charlie Kirk pointed it out several times. It's that what they're trying to do is get you to look at the color of skin or ethnicity or what you do behind closed doors with your sexual preference as the main issue. That's not the main issue.
Nope.
I mean, look at this whole DEI thing and defunding the colleges. Remember what was supposed to happen, even under the current administration, when this all got blown out of proportion. We were supposed to go to Fort Knox and open the gold reserves. Whatever happened to that?
Yeah, never did. Just went away. They just stopped talking about it.
Oh, no.
Did that gold ever happen?
We're talking about DEI and defunding NPR and PBS. No. I want you to open Fort Knox and show me that the gold's still there. Be transparent, for God's sake.
Well, yeah. Whoever asked over there about what platform pays money? No platforms pay me money. Patreon does. And I know I'm not doing enough on Patreon, guys. I'm sorry. I started a fucking company at the exact worst time to start one in the industry. And
Thanks,
it's
John.
killing me. It's costing me everything I've got. So I'm taking all the money that I personally have. Actually, I've taken all the money I personally have and put it into this so far to keep it afloat. And I've run out. So I'm trying to figure out what to do now. But I'm not giving up on it. We're still after it. Still pounding the pavement, trying to do some stuff. But so yeah, and Patreon, I will get back to some intel updates. I just started them again recently. You guys have seen some stuff. I'm going to do a whole thing on Nepal for you guys tomorrow. So if you're a patron, you'll be able to see, any level patron, you'll be able to see the Nepal report that I put out tomorrow. So to catch people up, because no one's paying attention to it. That's kind of a big deal, in my opinion. It's the toppling of a communist government. It's a big deal. It's the people of Nepal who are talk about poverty stricken. And as Frank with Knives by Hand will tell you, they're living a hard life over there, and their government wasn't helping them. And it was the youth, as it always is in these things. It was the youth in Nepal that toppled their government when they took away social media access and all kinds of stuff. Just like it will be probably the youth here, like you mentioned earlier, Sue, it'll be the followers of Charlie Kirk that are now incited that shit's got to change. It's that generation that's going to do it. It's supposed to be Gen X. It's supposed to be my generation according to fourth turning principles. And it still may be our generation that does it. But I think the impetus now will be on Charlie Kirk's generation of those people, even the people who disagreed with him, but said that he was engaged in civil debate. And that's all he ever asked for was civil debate. Come debate me civilly. Period. Bring your best facts and let's discuss them together. He always said, you can have your own feelings. You can't have your own facts. And he was right. And I think that generation will be the one that incites what's to come next.
Not even debated in a civil manner.
Yeah, I said civil debate. Like online, I tell a lot, I get a lot of shit from people. But I'm like, I will always have a civil debate with anybody. I don't care what your views are. But when you start the name calling and the bullshit, I tell them, you're out of ammunition now. Your ideas, you just disproved your own ideas because this is all you have left. So I don't mind having a civil debate, and I encourage it because Charlie was right. When we stop talking, the violence begins. Mm-hmm. And the violence may have began today. Like I said, Mom made a good point. This adds another layer to 9/11 for us all. Yeah. I did put it on X earlier. I said, today will be remembered in the years to come. Like everybody will remember where you were when you heard it and what you're doing. You know, everybody will remember this day because I think this will be the impetus for something much, much bigger. And it's not going to be pretty.
Just before we came on, I was lowering my flag to half staff, like the president ordered, for Charlie Kirk. My neighbor's like, "Oh, are you doing that for tomorrow? It's 9/11 tomorrow." I was like, "No, this is for Charlie Kirk. 9/11. I said I would have done it tomorrow if it was for 9/11.
Yeah.
Now that flag is going to be at half staff until Sunday night for Charlie Kirk. So.
Yeah. Yes. As it should be. You know. And Trump immediately lowered the flag, which was awesome. But Democrats have to turn everything into political point. You know.
Oh, absolutely.
AOC calling for gun control on Charlie's death. You know, he was an advocate for firearms ownership. You know, live by the gun, die by the gun kind of shit is what the left's saying. AOC didn't say that exactly, but that's what the left is saying. So.
Chris, Rick Blaylock just put a great quote up. We can't dehumanize those who have different political viewpoints from us.
Correct.
That is brilliant, and that is very true.
You know, I agree with that.
Because the media and the politicians have worked real hard to dehumanize us, and that's where most of this is derived from, in my opinion.
And you know, you just mentioned, Chris, about the left saying we need more gun control. Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Aren't most college campuses gun-free zones?
Most of them, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I did call my niece, and she goes to the University of Utah, which is actually north of Salt Lake City, or right there in Salt Lake City, the northern part. And she said that this year, open carry is allowed on her college anyway. I don't know if the Utah Valley University they allow it there too, but yeah.
Yeah. Will, you're wrong. Charlie Kirk and George Floyd are not even on the same plane as one another, and we should never lower Charlie Kirk's legacy to that of George Floyd. Absolutely. George Floyd was a criminal that died in police custody from a fentanyl overdose. Charlie Kirk was assassinated for his beliefs. They're not the same thing.
George Floyd was going to die one way or another.
Yes, he was.
He was on his way to dying. That's why he said he couldn't breathe.
Well, the funny part is, if you could say I can't breathe, you can breathe.
You're breathing, yeah.
The funny part is when you can't breathe, you can't fucking talk because it takes air to make it happen. So let me choke you. I'll show you. There's a difference. There's fun choking and not fun choking.
You promise?
I said there's fun choking and not fun choking.
So Chris, I got to ask this.
Stay tuned, guys, for the Fallout event.
So Chris, I got to ask this.
Are you bringing your camper or a tent?
Is this character in one certain book choked out, or character in another book not choked out?
You'll have to wait. Well, we know there's choked out and there's choked to death. There's a big goddamn difference. You can choke somebody out till they pass out and you let go, they'll wake the fuck up.
Yep.
I know. But don't worry, I was working on that part today. You guys are gonna like that shit. Yeah, talking is breathing.
Yep.
Talking is breathing.
But we got Fallout coming up though, man. It's gonna be.
We do. Let's run a Fallout ad for everybody. Reminded, hey guys, it's coming up next month. No wait, yeah, next month. That fucking September. Goddamn, 11th.
A little quick one here.
Let's run that. Get that out. I love seeing my boys on there, especially seeing Alan out there.
Oh yeah.
Tabor was never gone. There's a big, like I said, there's a big difference between choking somebody out and choking somebody to death. So.
Oh, I know. I just remember the fallout from.
Oh, there's another comment over there I mentioned. Oh, I know. Yeah, people lost their shit, but I'm like,
yeah,
it's a teaching moment.
Oh yeah.
It's a teaching moment.
Absolutely.
So
So you saw several comments, and I'm going to give got someone a shout out. Paulie Ham over there. That's Pete's nephew.
Oh, okay. All right.
Pete's
Cool.
nephew.
Well, welcome, Paulie Ham. I saw you on Pete's. I just didn't do the math and connect that. So.
Yeah. But yeah, Paulie's a pretty good guy.
Glad to have you. Next book, I don't fucking know. I'm trying, guys.
When it's done.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, Patrick. Patrick, you just need to get a shirt. Just get a shirt with the number 7 on it. I don't give a fuck. It could be a jersey. It could just be a T-shirt with just a big 7. That's all you need, dude.
Yeah.
You show up in that, I'll recognize you fucking immediately. I promise.
Exactly. Exactly.
Go to sleep.
Yeah.
No, that's not how Porky died. So,
nope.
That's funny though. We are closing in. Let's go around. Donnie, what are your thoughts on today, and what do you think it looks like moving forward from here? You're being the voice of restraint tonight, which I wasn't prepared for, by the way. I'm going to be honest with you. So you're being the voice of restraint tonight, and I wasn't prepared for that.
Yeah, there's a first for everything.
I thought we was going to put a leash on your ass, but no, go for it.
Well, I'm pretty pissed. I'm very upset because I thought Charlie was a fine young man, and I thought that he delivered a clear, rational, reasonable message and represented the right-leaning side very well. To be publicly assassinated like that was a travesty. Inside, I'm furious. I was very sad today. We train very hard. We've trained for years. We train for great violence in defense of. You flipping me off? Fuck you too.
No, flipping off comments, but no, keep going.
But
I'm just making sure I touch all those that need love here. That's what I'm doing.
A big part of our training for years, I know mine, has always been restraint. Great violence is a great power and has great responsibility. I'm sick of the chest beaters wanting to do this and that. We need to do something. We absolutely have to. There has to be major repercussions over this, but we have to decide a lawful manner, because when we start busting caps, all the shit collapses, dude. Everything that we need, and people just need to step back, breathe, think about it. Not saying we won't get to that ever. I hope we don't, but we have to be reasonable and rational. I think we need to honor this man because he was a great young man, phenomenal, intelligent. I think we need to give his family a chance to mourn. And that's where I'm at. I mean, listen, everybody talks about the state of the world. Dude, man has been killing man for 50,000 years. I mean, the world's always in a state of shit. But I'm not saying we don't need to address it, but we need to really think about what we do before we have actions. And that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying the cap motherfucker 12, but we need to think about it.
I agree. You do need to think about it. Sue, what do you think, man?
I just want people to wake up. I mean, after the election in November, we were all elated that Trump won, and we thought, everything was going to be hunky-dory and everything. And Will Gomez made the comment over there that our lives really haven't changed that much with the change of administration. What I've been frustrated about, said it on here many times, is we know the crimes have been committed, but we don't see all the perpetrators in handcuffs. Nobody's been arrested for the whole Obama and the Russian hope thing, starting from Obama all the way down. Not one person's been put on trial yet. All right. Nope. Then we saw what happened in Charlotte, and people didn't help and didn't go after the perpetrator. So, yes, I agree with Donnie. We need to let the family mourn. We all need to go in mourning for Charlie Kirk for a few days, but make a personal vow to yourself that I'm going to stand up. I'm going to start saying something. Charlie Kirk would be proud of you. Stand up and at least voice your opinions. Take action if you need to. Show restraint, but if they're when you need to take action, remember that seconds count, and the cops are minutes away, or the EMS are minutes away. Take action. At least help the victim, right?
Yep. Don't just stand there and film it. Yeah.
Yeah. Put your cell phone down and don't film the goddamn thing. Jump in and help the victim, or go after the perpetrator. You know.
Yep.
That's
Well said, sir. Well said.
Russ, what do you think, man?
Man, it was a sobering day. Watching the footage and listening to the reports and everything else, but it boils down to we have to have each other's six. You have to, like Sue said, don't be complacent. Right or wrong, make a decision. Daniel Penny, he made a decision. He rather had been judged by 12 than carried by 6. And, that's something that we've always said. And when I was in the military, and when you talk about gun rights and stuff like that, if you have to use it, make a decision, use it, and be okay with your decision. Don't second guess it. If you save somebody else's life, because of it, then okay. But you have to worry about it. You got to keep your heads on the swivel out there, folks. It's getting nasty.
What is it, Russ? They always said, if you see something, say something. I say we flip that and we say, if you see something, do something.
Yeah. Stop being a spectator to what's going on in your country and become an active participant in it. Okay. Stop watching. Stop being afraid. Stop letting them cow you with fear of the consequences of potential actions that could save someone's life. And the other side is people are just afraid of the level of violence that can come back at them. That's how violence wins. All it takes is for good men to do nothing. We've all heard the quote, and it's as relevant today as it ever has been at any time in our past.
Good women.
A good way to say that. Good way to say that is intimidation is a tool that can be used. Don't be intimidated. Do not be
by the judicial system or the threat of violence or anything else. Become an active participant. Like I said, withdraw consent. If enough people in this country withdraw consent, just stand up, just say, shit's got to change. We don't know what it needs to look like yet, but we got to sort some shit out because this ain't working no more for nobody. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to say nothing else there. I'm not going to get too deep into the woods on it. I'm going to end on a lighthearted note. Ghost, you're going to get a new, what was the Throne of Steel, what was that series?
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, thank you. You're going to get a new Game of Thrones book before you get 13. No, I'm just joking. And then I wanted to bring this one up. Zig put this out earlier. I think every state in the nation should do that right there.
Absolutely.
If you want to talk about gun safety, that is how you start. K through 12. Introduce them to firearms and show them to how to safely handle them. You don't have to teach them marksmanship. You need to show them how to safely handle them and what to do if they come across one. I taught my girls at a very young age. To this day, they all know how to handle a firearm and what to do with one. But I've said this for years too. You put a taboo on anything. You can take a coffee cup into a kindergarten class and set it on a table and look at those children and say, don't touch that, don't touch that, don't touch that. And you just keep saying, don't touch that, don't touch that, don't touch that. The minute you walk out of that room, they're going to fucking touch that cup. Well, because why? The curiosity. We're humans. We're curious by nature. That's how we discover things, and we've expanded territories and made scientific discoveries. Human curiosity. When you place a taboo upon anything, it's a bad thing. Every school, every state in this country should mandate K through 12 firearms safety training. Not marksmanship, not handling, just safety. We can start with that. And then from there, the kids can make up their minds which they want to do. That's my opinion on that one. Donnie, Sue, Russ, everybody, guys, thanks for being here. A lot of shit today. Kind of a really fucked up day.
Sad day for our country.
Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. But you guys know the drill. Be good at it. If you can't be good at it, at least be deadly. And I do fucking mean that.
Yeah.
Stop.